Senate hearings are now underway for President Biden's Supreme Court pick, Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson. Now, if confirmed, the 51-year-old federal judge would be the first black woman on the Supreme Court. Republicans are expected to target her past offenses of violent criminals and Gitmo detainees. And Senator Josh Hawley charges that she's had a, quote, pattern of letting child porn offenders off the hook. As you recall, she was a federal public defender. Now, one of the judge's defenders in the liberal media hit back at Hawley and blamed racism for any GOP objection to her confirmation and past jurisprudence. Listen.
And what would you say is the biggest challenge to Judge Jackson's confirmation, if any, given that Democrats have the majority?
The biggest challenge is her not getting up out of her chair and punching one of these fools in the mouth. Like, that's been the hardest thing, because all they have for her right now is racism and disgusting innuendo. Like, they don't have anything on her record. What Josh Hawley is doing, let's be very clear. What Josh Hawley is doing when he tries to do this is he's trying to get her killed. He is trying to get violence done against a Supreme Court nominee.
Okay, that's a pretty explosive accusation on his part about someone that had legitimate, frankly, objections to her jurisprudence record and how she'd done that.
Yes. Okay. So Republicans don't have any facts or data points. Interesting view from a liberal pundit. Well, let me give you a few facts, a few data points. Dan McLaughlin, National Review, wrote the best article to date on this nomination. He points out that she was elevated to the D.C. Circuit just last year. Very few opinions on any hot button issues, if any. When she was confirmed for this position, mind you, last year, here is what she said when Ted Cruz asked her if the Constitution is a living document. She said, "I have not had any cases that have required me to develop a view of constitutional interpretation of text in the way that the Supreme Court has to do." Okay, so you've had no cases that have required you to do the job of a Supreme Court justice, number one. And then she goes on to say, "I believe the Constitution is an enduring document. As a lower court judge, interpret provisions the way in which the Supreme Court does. They look at text in the original meaning of the Constitution." Then she issued a clarification because she sounded too much like a Clarence Thomas there talking about originalism and said, "Oh, I just have to do what the Supreme Court tells me to do for now because I'm not in that position." My point is, she's been all over the map. She's been rebuked by Obama judges on the deportation case, in an AFL-CIO case. There are plenty of facts, Elie Mystal, out there for why people would oppose this nomination. It's not rooted in racism.
And Harris, this judge has received the highest recommendation from certain bar organizations and the like, that she's the highest qualified, received the highest qualified rating and the like. But to Kayleigh's point, you can certainly, upon nomination, have your background assessed and have that be within the rubric of objective analysis of ensuring that this person is the right pick for the Supreme Court without having it devolve into accusations of racism or calls for violence.
Yeah, but can you, though? I mean, Democrats
I guess not now.
Well, Democrats would prefer you didn't, because they're their man in the White House, and he's our president together, but politically he belongs to them. Their man in the White House has said, "I'm putting a black woman in this position." She's the one who's in the chair. They've got the majority. Yeah. So they know that this is a foregone conclusion. What they want is for her not to be challenged. And how marginalizing is that? First of all, you take away her resume points, right? Shannon Bremas told us right here on our show how impressive her resume is. You take away those points and you replace them with, well, she should just punch him in the mouth when they ask her anything. I mean, what is Elie Mystal? What is he doing? He can't take a little debate? And by the way, do we want anybody to sit on the U.S. Supreme Court who can't take a little debate? Who can't answer questions? No, they want a quiet little woman. I guess that's what the president asked for. And if he didn't, he ought to have some words for Elie Mystal and the rest, because calling for violence is never the answer, unless it is for you.
And Kilmeade, Trey Gowdy points out that hypocrisy as well. He says it's ironic that Democrats are now calling for civility in the confirmation of the Supreme Court nominee. He says, you know, senators claim that they want justices who are fair, but some of the senators are the ones that are acting like partisan hacks.
Right. First off, you use my last name because you hang out with Gutfeld so much. That's the type of thing. Everybody else I'm on a first-name basis with. And I will not use the word rubric in my explanation, I promise, because I'm a non-lawyer. I will say this. I know Lindsey Graham, Murkowski, and Collins all voted for her last time. And I hear that the one thing that I saw Mitch McConnell bring up that I found interesting is that nobody wants to answer any questions during these hearings, but a question that would have been easy was, do you want to see the court packed? It's like, you should say, of course I don't. Because the last two liberal Supreme Court justices said the same thing. And I just bring it to this. Do you want your job to mean less? So you could answer that question without worrying about the ramifications. I just hope they they start a new trend, treating all the nominees with respect. It is really uncomfortable to see the way they're treated and the way they're talked to, and the 11th grade yearbook, what they sign in 11th grade yearbook, or a Boston Red Sox bus trip. I don't want to hear anything about that. I just want to hear about how she'll judge, and I want to see that great intellect in action. That's it.
That's right. And Lauren, part of the historical quality of this nominee, should she be placed on the bench, is the fact that she was a public defender, and that represents a spectrum diversity that hasn't existed thus far. So it's not surprising that her background would be subject to criticism and scrutiny as the current Congress assesses the qualifications there and how it flows with their policy as well.
And it should be allowed. It should be encouraged. And Senator Hawley shouldn't be criticized so much for it. I mean, I was just reading an MSNBC headline that crossed, and they said Senator Hawley's attempt to smear her backfires, and he denigrated himself in the process. But is that really what he did by mentioning that on her decisions on child porn offenders, she consistently sentenced below the federal recommendations? In one case, she sentenced 28 months when the government called for 78 to 97 months, that she showed support for the 1619 project, which influenced CRT. I mean, those are valid questions because those issues are extremely important to all voters, but women voters, especially these days.
That's right. And the validity of those questions shouldn't be diluted by calling them racist or having someone trying to smear their background when they're just trying to get all of that information. Exactly.